Thank you for the kind words. You certainly put a lot of pressure on me now, so thanks. Thank you for the invitation and for allowing to tell our story. It will be very business-minded what I'm going to tell. What I had in mind to go through is a little bit talk about solar in the first place, very shortly, because I guess no one here knows what solar actually is. It has nothing to do with solar panels, just to be clear on that one. And then, as a background for the main topic, a little bit about our journey so far, and then getting to the point about integration of suppliers and the reason why we did it and what we're gaining from it from a business point of view. Solar is a Danish company which is operating in 13 countries. We are an electrical wholesaler, meaning we have absolutely no production. We buy products, put them into a big central warehouse, and we sell it again. That's the main thing we actually do. Quite boring, but interesting business. We are operating within the electrical area, the plumbing area, the renewable energy area, and within specific areas like communication, working with shipyards, etc. We have many different customers. We have a wide perspective of customers. We have everything from industrial clients where they have production running 24/7 till the small installer who just is himself and his wife doing the accounting. So we have a very broad audience actually when we are talking about our customers. As said, we are operating in 13 countries, and what we have is that we have central warehouses in every country. We have central warehouses in every country, which actually allows us to be the inventory for our customers. This means if you are a customer, a client at Solar, you don't need to have the inventory because we got it. This means our clients have several channels where they can order our goods. They can order products no later than 7 o'clock in the evening. And we will deliver it where they need to do the work, meaning at the customer's customer, no later than 6 o'clock in the morning. This means our customers drive directly to where they need to do the work because the goods are already there. And then they start working. They don't have to drive by a branch to pick it up and then go to the client. We deliver where they want it no later than 6 o'clock. This means doing improvements in a business like this is like trying to change a tire on a Formula One car because we're running 24/7. We have industrial clients who can call and say, our line is down. You got 1.5 hours to find the component we need because we're going to pick it up. We need to be ready. This puts a lot of challenges to the organization, a lot of challenges to the supply chain as such. And it also puts a lot of pressure on the quality of our products because our customers are dependent that what they're getting is working according to the specifications. Otherwise, we will ruin their workflow, their way of working. It will damage their bottom line as well. So, central warehouses all over Europe, which function to service the customers in the absolute best way. My background for working with Solar is that I've been working with Six Sigma since '97, been working with Lean since the year 2000, so it's been a long journey, still in the learning phase, haven't really grasped yet what this is about. Just recently spent again 3 weeks in Japan, and I came back pretty much humble and I haven't grasped anything yet. So it's interesting to really be inspired over and over again. I have also, in my career, tried to be a consultant, which I found out I'm not good at, because sitting beside the guy next at the end of the table wasn't good enough. So when I joined Solar in 2007, I said, I'm going now and be the manager of doing this and creating the model line. Doing it the right way now, without having anyone to convince in a consultant role. And it was one of the best decisions I ever took. No offense against consultants, but that wasn't just my thing. So I've been with Solar since 2007. When I joined them, there was no lean thinking, nothing. Solar is an old lady, she's over 90 years old, so treat her with respect and careful. But it was also a company, when we started the journey, I asked the board of directors who knows anything about lean. And of course there was the supply chain director who lifted his little finger. Isn't it something with cars? Yeah, it's a good starting point, we'll take it from there. So mobilizing a whole organization about of 4,000 people, not as big as Shell, but I think the challenges might be similar. Has been very, very interesting. It is a conservative business, but certainly conservative businesses can grasp the ideas and then they start running fast. What we did in the beginning of the lean journey was actually to set some very, very fundamental prerequisites. We decided that when we started the journey, we wanted to see this new way of thinking as a system, not the tools. In my previous work as a consultant, I've seen too many companies, that's been a topic today as well, I think, too many focus on the tools. If you just focus on the tools, it will never work. Start with the problems. Give the organization some challenges. Let people develop. So what we did was actually to say, we will work with lean and see lean as a system that will go into our company. It will be about changing the culture, meaning the way this 90-year-old lady has been working so long. Bring some new aspects in, still focusing on the customer, still focusing on the managers and the employees. But it will certainly also go into the whole company. I've seen too many companies where we just do lean in the production and then we all claim we are lean. You are not. You will have an organization which is not balanced. You will have people in the production who are starting to think lean, managers who start to grasp it, and then you'll have a sales organization who keeps saying, we're special. It will never work in sales. And if you accept it, you've already lost, because there's a backdoor, you don't have to do it. The management team decided this will be for the whole company. This will also require a new way of being manager in our company, going away from being the oracle who knows everything and can give direct orders on everything that might be, to the guy who's asking questions and keep asking questions until the employees get it and actually start executing what they're supposed to do. And what was also important, that we found our own way. A lot of people go to Toyota or they see other companies and say, yeah, we need to copy it. If you just copy, it will never work. You need to find your own way and keep asking, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Will it solve the problem that you're doing? You don't have to do 5S just because the neighbor is doing it. He probably don't know either why he's doing it. But as long as you can say, we are doing this because we're trying to solve this problem, people will understand it. And then, of course, what we're seeing now, lean has an impact on developing the business, developing the organization, creating new ideas, creating channels for doing things we have never been in a situation that we could do. This overview is probably the most important decision we ever took way back in 27. Because that was the foundation, and we've been back to looking at it several times, but it's still reliable. We're not even there yet. And new managers are reminded, this is what we're going to do, this is the purpose why we're doing it. And this is what it will demand from you guys. During our journey, we have been focusing on a lot of things. I noted down some of them, and Victoria always so stated I could talk for days about all the different areas where we've been in the SAP area, still are in the SAP area. It's a very interesting area. But anyhow, linking the strategy to the activities. We avoided that lean had a life of its own in parallel with the business. We were interacting with the strategy. We were supporting the strategy to be executed. because we were asking what are the problems you're trying to solve, and not talking the tools. So whenever there was a problem and people got stuck in the analyze or actually just describing the problem, which is a challenge in its own, we were there to support them, giving knowledge, training people, not taking over, but just giving knowledge, sharing and letting people do, because they were seeking for something. It's like a guy who's about to drown and you toss him some life-saving equipment, he'll use it immediately because he needs something. It's the same with the tools that we did. We have had a huge focus on developing our competences in our organization, preparing managers on what is this about, what will this demand from you guys, but also the employees. How will your day change? And translating what benefits will give to you. Being able to translate this to a guy who's working in the goods receiving area is a fantastic thing, because he suddenly grasps why he should join. And then a thing that's very important for us, think, work and improve in processes. I'll get back to that in just a second. We've created outstanding results, working with people, and really, honestly speaking, not having had any huge investments. We've invested in people, and it has paid off so many times. Supply integration was also a spin-off, a thing we wanted to do because we saw new areas where we could improve the business, develop the business, doing something no one else in our business had done before. And we'll cover that very much in detail in just a second. But also getting control of the processes in our business by monitoring things. Just like when you have a patient who's in intensive care, he is connected to so many machines because you need to make sure his blood pressure is okay, his heartbeat is okay. We're doing the same with the businesses. They know exactly the heartbeat. They know exactly what is the rhythm in the different organs, because we measure it and we have the right people to measure it and to take countermeasures if things are sliding. Communication-wise, we needed, in the beginning of the journey, something that our managers could relate to. I'm saying lean and solar, what is that? And honestly speaking, the only thing we're using is this simple house. I know a lot of you guys have seen a lot of houses and you're probably thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, another house. We could build villages with all the houses. And you're right, we could. But this is our house. This is the thing we use when managers are explaining the different elements, the different things we are doing and why we're doing it and what is supporting what. And managers use it. It creates the link to our main focus areas in the business, which are growth, efficiency, and people. And I won't go through all of them because you're experts, so I won't bother you with the details. But it is a thing which is adding value to our employees, our people, our managers, and even our CEO is using the house when he's standing somewhere in a stock exchange and has to explain what we're doing because it makes sense to him as well. This is what we are. All this work actually was also appreciated when Solar was awarded with the Productivity Award back in 2010, which was a very, very good thing for the organization, that they saw that their hard work was paying off. It was recognized outside the organization as well. And the great thing was we achieved actually this award by only working with Lean for 3 years. We were actually competing against organizations who had been on the Lean journey for 7 or 8 years. And I wasn't really setting the ambition too high, but just getting nominated was great. But going all the way was what the organization needed. It boosted the whole organization. We can do more. And they wanted more. So that was a great thing. But of course, we are still very, very humble about what we're doing. We still have a lot to learn. The organization has a lot to learn. So it helped us a lot. And one of the challenges we saw was the process thinking. In the Lean House, you saw that process thinking is a very important thing in our journey. And what we decided back in 2007 was that we were going to improve our processes. We wouldn't take the approach to go into finance and make finance lean. We wouldn't go into marketing and do marketing lean because they had to. We wanted a clear purpose. We wanted a clear problem. So what we actually did was back in 2007 was actually to look at our organization, and actually what we did, like many companies, we were working in the silos. But with a customer point of view, it's our dear customer out here, he's looking at another angle on us. He doesn't see the silos. He couldn't care less about this is sales, this is finance, this is marketing. He just sees the processes, and he needs process to be executed in an excellent way anytime to service his business. So the challenge was how to create a process landscape that would work for businesses who think they were unique. Because even at that time, the countries said, yeah, we in the Netherlands, we're unique. Why are you unique? Yeah, because we operate in the Netherlands. Okay. So the Danish organization is unique because they're operating in the Danish business. Yes, absolutely. We started to draw, and we communicated and worked, and actually what came out was they weren't different. They weren't different. They were different in the details, but in the overall process landscape, they could actually say, this is us. Yeah, surprise. And we've been working with the process landscape ever since. Our business can actually be explained quite simple by 4 main processes. It's product life cycle. We are wholesalers, so product life cycle is very essential to us. Procure to pay, also very important. Receive to ship, and order to cash. 4 main processes describing the whole business. Below this, of course, in every box, if you open them, there are, again, several sub-processes that are, again, described. This is the way they're being executed. This is the documentation lying beneath. The great thing about this process model is that IT has adapted the same model, and we are implementing our SAP system according to this process landscape, because this is the way the business is running, and the template has to be adjusted to the way we're doing business and servicing our customers. So, this of course then led to some development. I mean, if you start talking about processes within Solar, if you're talking about receive to ship, we come to a part where receive to ship is actually requesting more. We're dealing with suppliers. We're getting things from suppliers. The same with procure to pay. All of a sudden there was a request. We have a problem. As a wholesaler, you are very, very reliant on your suppliers. I'm not saying if you're production you aren't, but we are very exposed with the center warehouse if our suppliers are not delivering what they're supposed to do. So what we decided was we needed to look at how we're dealing with our suppliers, meaning what happens from the point where actually receive to ship, or procure to pay, is delivering a purchase order at a supplier till the time where we actually receive the goods. There's actually a lot of things happening, and we have huge purchase departments in our company who are doing this thousands of times every day. In Solar, just as a number, we have 6,000 suppliers. So we have very, very big amount of suppliers who are delivering to us every day from various countries. So what we decided was we needed some kind of approach where we actually could start developing our suppliers so that they could become better in delivering, better in quality, but also making sure that we had efficient processes connected to our suppliers. What we developed was a model, a kind of roadmap, to be able to communicate this to the suppliers what we wanted to do. And in the beginning it was hard because the suppliers weren't used to that a wholesaler is coming and saying we need to work at the processes. They are used to saying we need to look at the price. We need to talk about price. Let's talk about price. All of a sudden let's talk about the process. How can we optimize the process? The model we used is actually a simple step model where the different stages are actually, from our point of view, describing what is the characteristics of this step, what is present, and what is the next step, so that we actually are developing our suppliers together with us. But what we found out is that it's not just the work actually within this model that's the hard part. It's actually also, we are coming with a matureness about how lean is working, what is a value stream map, God knows what, thinking and process, and all of a sudden you're confronting a supplier who's saying, I don't know what you're talking about. What is lean? Okay, let's go 3 steps back and train them. So we spend a lot of time training suppliers in what lean thinking is, from our point of view, to get them on the track. And what we see there is actually it has a huge payoff. They're starting to grasp what this is about. They're starting to grasp the process thinking. And some of the suppliers we picked up on a very low stage are actually one moving the fast now because they see they're developing their businesses based on what we're telling them. But just as an example, I won't bother you too much, but the headlines. If you take, for example, step 0, that's where you actually starting from scratch with a supplier where there is absolutely no communication, there's nothing in place. Stage number 1, which was where a lot of our suppliers were, it was cost focus, it was getting some standard frame agreement, and then we start purchasing, that was it. We were of course annoyed when they didn't deliver, God knows what. And then we had some suppliers who were actually good at having the dialogue with us regarding the lead time, when can we expect things to come, what is the total cost. We started to work with EDI with them, we started to share some data with them, so we started actually to develop the cooperation with them. And also something here, that's the SSA, that's the Solar Supply Assessment. That's where we actually assess them on a yearly basis. How good are they? We are measuring them on their delivery or their performance, their quality towards us. But where it gets really interesting is step 3. That's where we draw the value stream with them. And drawing the value stream is a huge eye-opener. And it is literally a go-see. We start at the purchase department and see what is going on there. And during a session like that, we have participants from the supplier and people from our side who are working in the process. Next step is, of course, to go to the supplier and saying, okay, who's receiving the order? How is it processed? Then it goes into production, being produced, being shipped, pack, God knows what. And then it gets back to our goods reception again. So there's a lot of traveling combined with it, but the big experience or the big learnings actually just come when you walk the process and you actually see what is going on. And the involved persons are joining in, meaning we have people from the purchase department joining in, we have people from the goods reception area. The guy who's receiving the pallet, he's joining the project to come with his input because he's in it every day. The guy who's packing it at the supplier is in it because he's doing this every single day. And the things you actually can take out, like the waste and the useless communication and stuff like that, it's impressive. Then, of course, as we're progressing, you draw another one as you are developing and even making it more flexible, making it more sustainable, more efficient. And it is a partnership that is developing. We are having we have had many suppliers through this round now. And what is important is actually that you need to be very careful when you're going through the steps, because if you're rushing it, we've done the mistake to rush sometimes. It will never work. It is about developing the supplier. So you can call it integration, but this is actually development. And sometimes also alignment between us and the suppliers. And again, going through the different steps mean different challenges. But what we're seeing here is actually the step where we're going from the lead time and the cost focus to the combined value stream map. That is where the big bang actually happens for us and our suppliers. This is where we get the buy-in. This is where they are also seeing, this is working, this is working. We had some worries before we started because we are investing a lot of money in suppliers, and some would say, what if they use this on other customers as well? Because we're giving them a catalog of ideas they need to improve. We're giving them for free. But the alternative was if we're not doing it, then we will not be able to improve. We will not raise our quality. We will not be able to meet the customer demands and even lower our stock because we changed the way we're doing business with people. So it was a strategical decision. We're going for it, despite if they're going to use it elsewhere. That's the risk we're taking. The value stream map, as I told you, is the key point, and it's kept very, very simple. You can see sample up here. It's nothing to do with making it digital or God knows what. This is just drawing what you see. So you don't need any fancy things to draw it. I mean, the best VSM are those drawn by hand, where you can see the coffee cup on top, or you can see the post-it still hanging there, God knows what. That is what's working. It makes it alive, and it's a value stream map made on foil, so they're actually bringing it around, and some of these foils have been traveling all over Europe because it's been in a lot of countries. It's also a good way to do it because in our situations we sometimes have suppliers where the supplier is delivering to 4, 5 countries, the same supplier. So we actually sometimes have to draw 4, 5 value stream maps because the countries are doing it differently. And it's very annoying for the supplier, but actually he's doing different things from country to country as well. So this becomes very efficient by the time we actually can say, yeah, we started with 4 or 5 current states, and you ended up with 1 future state. One way of doing business with a supplier. It makes his process more smooth, it makes our process more smooth, and it limits the rate of failure dramatically. So it gives us the overview, and what we're doing is still sticking to our 7 types or 9 types of waste which we got here in Solar, where we are teaching the supplier the way we see waste and trying to group it. We also then, based on the different improvements that are coming up, some of them are handled by an A3. We have some categories where we are using the A3 to solve it. The reason why we're using the A3 is basically to stay in the plan, do, check, act mode. So it helps people to really analyze what is the problem. What is the problem you're trying to solve? Because Solarians, they are solution oriented. If they see a problem, then within 0.1 second they have a solution, without really looking at what is the real problem. What is the problem you're trying to solve? So it helps a lot, and it's a good tool also to work with the suppliers. It is, I think you mentioned it, it's a story we're telling, it's aligning, this is the problem we're trying to solve. Our suppliers can use it internally, we use it internally to fix things and keep improving it. In a session like this, we're then setting up bi-weekly video conferences with the suppliers to keep the progress, make sure we deliver the things we do. But also, if things are lifted up on a higher level, we are following up on that. Maybe our market director has to do some agreements with the supplier's counterpart to ensure that we can improve the things. And so a lot of people are actually engaged in this. What we're also doing here is developing standards, meaning how are we going to do business going forward. And standards are a good thing as long as everybody sticks to it and actually improve the standards, because we are creating standards to be able to improve the things, because if we don't have any standard, we don't know what we're improving. It's just a personal opinion. I think I improved it. Yeah, what did you improve? I don't know, because we don't have a standard. So standards are also part of this thing that we're doing with the suppliers as well, and they also have their challenges most of the times selling the standard message as such, but it creates the stable process which we are all seeking for. Here's an example. which I brought to you to show you a little bit the complexity that we've done with one of our suppliers, where you can see actually we are out here at the end of the chain, and if you then actually go backwards in the supplier's production chain, that is where it gets really, really complicated, and it's sometimes explained why we're having long lead times, why we're having quality problems, why we're having different issues serving our customers in a good way. With this supplier, we've been doing this integration for over 3 years now. It's a great supplier who is actually grasping the lean thinking together with us. And we just now launched a new thing together with them where they will be able to be more part of our planning, and we can go backwards and see when we can expect stuff from their factories lying behind their distribution centers, because normally there is a wall here where you can see this is as far as it gets. But right now we are getting a system up and running where our purchase department can go back actually and see the status of our orders all the way back almost to the raw material. The reason why they're doing it is, of course, they want this breakthrough innovative approach. They've never done this before with a supplier like us. It has a long horizon on this strategically. This is developing to a partnership now. We're really opening up for each other now to be able to see what are you doing, what am I doing. We're not just talking price anymore. We're just talking, let me see the value stream, what you're doing all the way, and let us solve the problems together. And then, of course, we will join sales and marketing, so we actually can help each other gain more sales by being aligned. This is what we're aiming for now, so that we're not ending up in situations where we want to run a campaign and, the marketing material is ready, but the goods are not on stock. Or the other way around. That's also been a situation sometimes. But the overall is, again, to have the supply chain synchronized all the way through, and thereby being able to react fast to market demands, and also with a huge focus on the end customer, get more satisfaction there, because we are closer to the end customer than he is. Some of the feedback we're getting from the suppliers where they've been working with us, it's extending the collaboration and will support the growth we're both aiming for, so there is a joint vision while we're doing this. It will improve the end user service degree and satisfaction, because what we're also doing is not just looking at the supplier, we're also looking at our customer's customer. Customer's customer, yes. Because we sell to an electrician. The electrician is going out into your homes and installing the things. What he's experiencing are we bringing all the way back in the supply chain. So whenever there's a new product, we can report back. It takes way too long to assemble it. The packaging is impossible to work with when you're out in the field. So information are carried all the way back, because we learn from the customer as they are doing their job out there. And also improve our common understanding of business opportunities. We're seeking the same thing. We're seeking growth. Share our stocking policies to reach common optimization of our cash, while support growth and customer satisfaction. I don't know about your companies, but normally these are not the words you actually share with your supplier, that you actually share optimization of the cash. It's also when you want to have longer payment terms, of course. But at the end of the day, it's a joint venture. And of course, a very thing to anticipate crisis, to mitigate them. When short supply is occurring, get more proactive information to make it shorter and less painful for our customer. And again, another important thing for us, phase in, phase out of products. Just for one country, we are phasing in, meaning taking new products in, about 22,000 times a year. That's the ratio we got. 22,000 articles coming in, approximately 21,000 leaving. So there's a big exchange of article numbers over and over again, because we're changing the product range, or new models are occurring throughout the business as we are progressing. And if you times this up by 13 countries, the number gets tremendous high. So, what have we achieved? What have we gained so far? We have a high turnover rate on our goods in the center warehouses, which is good. We have more quality in the deliveries than we've ever had before, meaning that the right amount is there, the quality is at a level where we are not disappointing our customers. There is less waste in the purchases process. It is efficient and everybody knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and who's following up on what. And there is a good and efficient communication with the supplier. We are at the stage where the blaming is taking out of the equation. This is about solving the problems. If there's a problem, we need to find the source, correct it, and make sure the customer is not suffering. Common line of sight, common KPIs, measuring the same thing. Making sure we share these KPIs on a weekly basis so the customer or our suppliers know exactly how is he performing, how are we performing, to make sure that we can react whenever things turn into red or deviating. And of course, at the end of the day, the main purpose is to have a better service to our customers than we've ever had before. That they can trust us, that they will do business with us because they know we have the goods, we deliver when they want it, where they want it. The learnings. The starting of the process can be very, very hard. Many suppliers are not used to think in this way. But what we're seeing now is, as the rumors is spreading in the business, we have people on the waiting line because we can't simply deal with too many suppliers at the time. We have agreed we will have, I think it's 10 at a time to be able to do a good job with them, and then we can take more in. But people are really calling, when is it our turn? When can we get into this together with you guys? So they want to do this thing with us. The go-see is an eye-opener. Can really recommend that. Just what happens when the guy who's actually packing it meets with the guy who's receiving it. You won't believe how much they have to talk about. They really have to exchange things, and they're taking so much waste out of the process just by talking and looking and saying, why do you do this? I don't need this. Okay, nobody told me. I'll stop doing it. Thank you. No, but seriously, we might laugh, but I think it happens a lot of times because people are not communicating. We are assuming, I need to do this. And we all know what happens if you're assuming. You make an ass of you and me. Sometimes it's hard to get a common view on what is lean. What we usually do is go back to the purpose. Why are we doing this? You don't have to call it lean. Just solve the problem. You can call it whatever you want. And having the common KPIs gives common goals. It has a very, very strong message that you can have these goals and you can share them at the CEO level as well. Then they have something to talk about as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Good. That was the end.